Letting Swift River Go, written by Jane Yolen, illustrated by Barbara Cooney. When I was 6 years old, the world seemed a very safe place. The wind whispered comfortably through the long branches of the willow by my bedroom window. Mama let me walk to school all alone along the winding blacktop, past the old stone mill, past the Grange Hall, past our church, not even meeting up with Georgie Warren or Nancy Vaughn till the crossroads. Georgie and I fished the Swift River in the bright days of summer, catching brown trout out of the pools with a pinhook and a bit of thread. We played mumbledy-peg in the graveyard and picnicked on Grandpa Will's stone, the black one that stayed warm all day by soaking up the hot summer sun. And many a summer night I slept out under the backyard maples with Nancy Vaughn. We'd listen to the trains starting and stopping along Rabbit Run, their long whistles lowing into the dark, startling the screech owl off its perch on the great elm. Lying there, looking up at the lengthening shadows of trees, we'd see the fireflies winking on and off and on. One night, Nancy Vaughn and her cousin Sarah from the city brought 3 mason jars to my house. We caught fireflies in them, holding our hands over the open tops. Mama came out to watch. She shook her head. "You have to let them go, Sally Jane," she said to me. So I did. In the deep winter, Papa harvested ice from Greenwich Lake, and Mama kept the stove going in the house all day and all night. I slept under 3 eiderdowns and Grandma's quilt. Later, in March, we put buckets up on all the maples, dipping our fingers down into the sap and tasting the thin sweetness. But then everything began to change. The men went to the Grange Hall time after time after time. The women, too. Only nobody asked us kids. They all listened to men from Boston because the city of Boston, 60 miles away, needed lots of water. Boston had what Papa called a mighty long thirst, and no water to quench it. We had water here in the valley, good water, clear water, clean water, cold water, running between the low hills. We could trade water for money, or water for new houses, or water for a better life. So it was voted in Boston to drown our towns that the people in the city might drink. First, we moved the graves, Grandpa Will's black stone, and the Doubledays and the Downings, the Metcalfs and the Halls. Papa read the headstones on the trucks as he helped gather the small remains, hauling them to the new cemetery, where everything would be fresh and green. Sometimes all the men found were buttons or teeth or a few thin bones. Papa said they left the Indians where they lay. No one wanted to bother with them. But I thought it right they remain in sacred ground. The black flies were fierce, Papa said, fierce. He had bites under his eyes, swollen like tears. Then the governor sent his woodpeckers to clear the scrub and brush, to cut down all the trees, the maples and elms, the willows and sycamores, and the great spreading oaks. They were stacked like drinking straws along the roads, then hauled away. Our houses came next. Some were bulldozed. One great push and they went over after 1 and 2 centuries of standing strong against wind and snow and rain. Georgie and I watched them push down the old stone mill till the windows of one wall stared out like empty eyes at the far-off hills. Mr. Baxter's house went by truck along the blacktop to its new home in another town, slow as any child going to school. Nancy and I ran alongside for a ways, but it had more breath than we did. We stopped, panting, and watched till it was out of sight. Then Mama and Papa and I moved away to New Salem, one big hill over, and into a tiny house where my room was warm all winter long. Nancy and her folks went to the city to be near her cousin Sarah. I never heard where Georgie went, never even got to say goodbye. Strangers came with their big machines, building tunnels and caissons, the Windsor Dam and the Goodenough Dike. Papa brought me over to watch most Friday afternoons. "You've got to remember, Sally Jane," he said. "Remember our town." But it didn't seem like our town anymore. There were no trees, no bushes, no gardens, no fences, no houses, no churches, no barns, no halls. Just a long, gray wilderness, just a hole between the hills. The waters from the dammed rivers moved in slowly and silently. They rose like unfriendly neighbors halfway up the sides of the hills, covering Dana and Enfield, Prescott and Greenwich, all the little Swift River towns. It took 7 long years. Much later, when I was grown, Papa and I rode out on the Quabbin Reservoir. Behind us we left a bubble trail. Through the late afternoon and well into the evening, we sat in the little boat, and Papa pointed over the side. "Look, Sally Jane," he said, "that's where the road to Prescott ran. There's the road to Beaver Brook. That's the spot the church stood where we had you baptized. And the school, and the Grange Hall, and the old stone mill. We won't be seeing those again." I looked. I thought I could see the faint outlines, but I could not read the past. Little perch now owned those streets, and bass swam over the country roads. A rainbow trout leaped after a fly, and the water rings rippled through my father's careful mapping. When it got dark, the stars came out, reflecting in the water, winking on and off and on like fireflies. I leaned over the side of the boat and caught the starry water in my cupped hands. For a moment I remembered the wind through the willow, the trains whistling on Rabbit Run, the crossroads where I had met Georgie Warren and Nancy Vaughn. Gone, all gone, under the waters. Then I heard my mother's voice coming to me over the drowned years. "You have to let them go, Sally Jane." I looked down into the darkening deep, smiled, and did.